development in terms of politics in Nigeria. And we know, as a matter of fact, there have been a number of national development itself, national issues begging for attention. And of course, this remains a shocker in our polity, talking about the Abba Kyari's case. And what appears to be like a rested case has been brought back, reinvigorated, and of course resurrected it back. And of course, we're hoping that as much as we get back this case, and we are trying to look at how much more things have actually evolved around the Abba Kyari's case. And if we look at the fact that many Nigerians have actually been talking about this very development and how much more what appears to be his downfall has affected the face of the police force in Nigeria, is also another dimension that a number of people have actually been talking about. And from there, we are actually going to also be looking at the political party formula, and that has to do with the issue of zoning. Political party zoning is also another development that is calling for a number of attention in Nigeria. And of course, these are two areas that we're going to be looking at this evening. I'm so short of words, maybe because I'm also overwhelmed by some of this development itself. All right, we have our guest in the studios this evening, and of course, I have Olisa, Mr. Lawrence Olisa with us. One of our in-house analysts is also joining us on the program this evening. It's good to have you here, Mr. Olisa.
Good evening, madam. Good evening.
I was going to say Olisa Metsu. Almost slipped my tongue. All right, and we also have Mr. Rotimi Ogulano too joining us on the platform. It's great to have you here.
Good evening. Thank you for having me on your program this evening.
All right, let me start off with Ms. Olisa Lawrence. Let's look at the facts that Abba Kyari is one respected police officer. That we can't take that out of the picture so far. But what appears to be like a buried issue has been brought up again, like the dust have been raised again, and so many questions have been asked as to what must have happened to this particular case itself, and what must have happened to this fine police officer that has been respected for a very long time. And now you have all of these issues brought up. Now, the issue of the drug itself, it appears to be sudden, and it's not something that Nigerians ever expected from the likes of Abba Kyari. Now, what do we make out of this development itself?
I think it's an unfortunate situation for Abba Kyari at this material time to have a drug-related issue, because of all the hush puppies noise and cover-up, now another dimension that will nail the coffin as come to the surface, because the drug issue anywhere in the world, the total thing, or the final summation is that every property you have acquired is assumed to have come out of drug illicit trade, and that is, you confiscate everything to the government. So this issue right now is, I think, is the last straw that has broken the camel's back. They've been covering up the hush puppy case, but now from home, something has been dug out.
All right, resurrect is one particular word that I missed out. I was trying to say resurrect, and it keeps going off
dug out.
Yes, it's skeleton. Like it's been buried, and of course now we are seeing another dimension to all of this. Now, if you look at the kind of Abba Kyari, it's one man that has been respected in the police force in Nigeria. And now, if this development happens, what does it tell us about the high-ranking officers within the police force itself?
Apart from the uniform they wear, they have their own personal characters or mannerism. I remember working close to one of the former Inspector General of Police. He was briefing officers. He said, if peradventure you are on an assignment and you see a robber and you collect money to allow the robber to go, peradventure, when he's on another escapee, the first person he will bring down is that police officer that he bribed to escape the last time. And such, there are a lot of things in the police force, there are a lot of bag eggs as it is in the society. But Abba Kyari, the showbiz, I think it was a showbiz. Now the real man has appeared.
What does that tell us about our political terrain in Nigeria? Now, obviously, we look at security as an outfit that should not have any interest in politics. From what we have been seeing so far, are we going to see, as a matter of fact, that nobody has a wing of what has been happening within the high-ranking officers of the police or security architecture in the country? Would we say that there is conspiracy of interest within the cycle. Some individuals are aware of what is going on, but they fail to speak out. Are we going to say that?
Yes, because if they are just digging this issue out, it happened in the past. But some of his godfathers would have, it's our son, let's bury it. But now, the new Pharaoh does not know Joseph, and as such, he's digging out a lot of things. Retired Brigadier General Mawa is somebody who is meticulous, and he wants to make a point to Nigerians. And as such, they've gone back to the past to dig out this thing. Corruption is mankind. You understand me? But like the Spartans will say, don't steal. But once you steal, if you are caught, you are killed.
All right, let me quickly go to Mr. Rotimi Okunlanu. Now, looking at this development itself, many questions have been raised as to how much more the zero tolerance to corruption by the Buhari administration has fared well. And now this appears to be a major test case, especially for this administration. Talking about a man that was raised under this administration, respected world over. And now, to me, it looks like more or less like the rise and fall of a man who was placed up there and somehow is being dragged in the mud. What do we make out of this zero tolerance to corruption, and what has happened so far?
Well, Abba Kyari Tafe so epitomizes the kind of leadership we have in Nigeria, kind of opportunist, kind of I will call them vagabond in power. So we have in our country. So because power corrupt absolutely. And that's one popular saying. I want to quote from Gbega Adeboye when he was alive. He said, if there's someone seem to be kind, seem to be straightforward to the whole world, and he has a clandestine, dirty work he's doing that is not open to people, that kind of work will eventually manifested one day, and it will work against him, against such a person. It's not. We should look beyond Abba Kyari. There are many people that are public space, which of course we see them as a patriot, and what they are doing is very bad secretly. What they are they just seem to be patriotic. They just seem to be philanthropists. They just seem to be hardworking, but they are not. What they are doing secretly against the state, conspiracy that they are committing against the country they are serving is bad. So that's why I did say initially that what happened to Abba Kyari epitomizes the kind of system, the kind of leadership that have been governing us in this country.
Let's take it that it's still an allegation, unless been proven by a court of law, and of course it's been prosecuted as a result and convicted at the end of the day. It's still under probation and of course allegation. But as it stands, now obviously there might be some kind of jitters within the police force in Nigeria, not just the police force. Now, it appears that it's even coming at the twilight of this administration. Would we say that the government has failed in the fight against corruption if men that are held in very high esteem under this government in a way appears to be fingered? Then do we say that this is a total failure of the system?
Absolutely. The system is not working, and the system that permits all this kind of corruption. And if we fail to change the system, if we fail to have leaders that can address this thing, so we are going to continue managing it. So people are hidden under this system, the bad system, to do whatever they like. Initially, what is the process of employing police officer and some other public officer like that? Do they go to their private asset? No. I even heard it some hours ago that he has been in suspension, and everybody knows that he's under suspension. But for the fact that he's no longer under suspension, there are some activities under IRT that is passing to him, as fully operating. So people under his team, they are still loyal to him. There are some cases that have been taken to him, and he's operating perfectly. And he was about to recall back to fully recall back to the system through back door, through the bad system that is promoting him.
So are we playing politics with everything in Nigeria?
No, that is what I'm saying. Nigeria, there's no humanity. Money has taken over the humanity. money has taken over value, value in this country. It is only rogue. It's only all this crown, this rogue that we are celebrating in this country. A nation where we celebrate material things, so above humanity, above creativity. So we can never get it right. So that is what Nigeria are celebrating now. So we have seen this kind of guy that has been conferred national honor, and with all this now, I expected those people that conferred national honor to him to have been withdrawn it before this time around. So those set of people we have been having at the corridor of power, those set of opportunities, so have been governing us at all level. They are there in customs, they are there in police. It's only his own case that we see now. There's a lot of other very cases like that. So there's no system that is checking their weight, their source of weight. There's no system that is checking their all their activities. So, but the moment they get there, they have the immunity that's covered them to do whatever they like. So that is why I don't believe we can get it right soon, in as much we have these people at the corridor of power. Because don't forget the fact that these police are the agent of governing power. They are the agent. Whatever they want them to do, they will do it. So in a nation where political prisoner have been persecuted, if they go to court, we see how they handcuff Nnamdi Kanu. You see how they handcuff the peaceful protester. You see how they torment, how they dehumanize even common peaceful protesters at the street. But you see the real criminal, so they will still be giving them priority. So they will still be guarding them. So that is why we are where we are today in this country. And the moment we have these people at the court of power, so we cannot get it right.
Using the words of Oshibado there, where we are today.
Where we are, yes.
And Prof has to go on and on. Okay, let me come back to Mr. Lisa. Are you surprised that the likes of Garba Shehu has not made any comments till now?
I said something. It's part of the family. I mean, their family is being used.
Part of their family?
It's part of their family. With my colleague here, see, corruption, if you look at the corruption index since 2015, it has been going up. Imagine a government that has accused some people of importing toxic fuel, saying that they're going to spend about 201 billion naira to clean it. What is that? It's corruption. So when it's
that's done on purpose.
It's done on purpose.
It's on purpose. Is a sabotage.
Is a click. If we talk about corruption, they belong to the same clan, and they know what they are doing. Corruption is so great that IMF warned us that the rate at which we were borrowing money was detrimental to our progress. But today they are asking us to use 92.6 to pay back. See, if we talk about corruption, these are not the people to talk. All we need to talk is the little things we still have, let's salvage it. Because the Abakaris in the system, imagine recently somebody serving in Lagos against another person from another ethnic tribe having a plot of land close to his house.
Yes.
See, you now see that we won't talk because we are broadcasters, but we know that corruption.
We know within. Let's look at the police force in total now. We know within the police force in Nigeria itself is riddled with a number of corruptions, and now bribe taking is one of the huge allegations against the police architecture. And of course, you could see what happened at that particular scenario. The video was so that the NDLEA brought out to the public. We could see that Abba Kyari was trying as much as possible to offer a bribe. Allegedly, we don't know if it is real the Abba Kyari, but from what we saw from that video itself. Now, that bribe taking has been part and parcel, allegedly, of the police formation in Nigeria. Now, if the government is saying that it's going to tackle corruption holistically, and now it's also zeroing in the fact that once international recommendations or suggestions has come when it comes to corruption index, we do not take it.
Yes.
Then how then do we solve all of these problems?
See, somebody is wearing black and he wants to turn that black to white. Is it possible? But he can turn white to black. See, what they are telling us is what they practice. Do what I say, but don't do what I do. We all see all these set of corrupt practices. It's always been there. They talked about NNPC because their own family members are there. Have they done anything to change it? We've seen a lot of the Air Nigeria issue. Have they done anything about it? How many billions was used to design? See, when you talk about corruption in Nigeria, with this set of people, I'm sorry, they're the same thing. Nothing happened.
Including Buhari.
I'm not mentioning him, but the setting is corrupt from the top to the ground.
And when you say the top, who is at the top here?
If
Would
you
you
say
say the
Baba,
president?
if you say Baba, it's your problem when you say Gida.
You actually said from the top, and ordinarily, if you have to do an interpretation, it means the head. And there's also a parlance that they said when the head is rotten, virtually every part of the body will be rotten.
The Chinese
now,
man says,
if we have to, you are trying as much as possible to mind words here, but really, on the face of it,
yes,
you know, in Nigeria as it stands, who should be the administrator of those who will lead by example when it comes to fighting all of these instances? Nigerians have been saying at different forums that our president has spent largely his time traveling to London to treat whatever ailment that he has. And it's not even transparent to the public as to how much the government has spent as a result of this. Now, if that happens, doesn't it also affect other facets of the society, like the police architecture, like what we're seeing about garbage out? Now, if that happens, then what exactly are we dealing with?
We are dealing with zero, because 1 million times 0 is equal to 0. If we're talking about the corruption architecture, the promise about repairing the 4 refineries in 4 years, nothing has been done. They were able to buy 20% equity from Dangote's refinery. They are able to lay pipes from the south to the north. They are able to do train track from Nigeria to Niger. And then you are not saying these people are fighting corruption. All lies, all lies, all lies, and nothing. All that we need here, as a broadcaster, you control your messages. You understand me? But you speak in a way that only the wise will understand it, because we have the right to protect national security interests. But if you look at the police, you look at them, even we are all corrupt.
Is that not a problem in Nigeria? Like if you go to Asia, for instance, if the president has erred, he steps aside, he goes through the court process, they prosecute or convict.
It's true.
But now, why is it always difficult in Nigeria to have that done? And of course, why do we have to mind word about it? Looking at the fact that we are operating a federal structure and of course a democratic system of governance, why is it that here in this part of the world we do not speak to the truth? Most times it's always behind the truth, and of course we want people to deduce. For how long do we have that stance?
Because in a situation like this, like as a clergy, the right thinking people will hide their head. If not, the king has the power to decapitate one's head. You understand me? It's in the Bible. What we have to do now, we are already in the messy situation, but all we need to do is to mobilize the people to know who is saying the truth or lies. Imagine if you're talking about the man traveling, the man doing this. What has changed? When certain people are caught for corruption, he said some people were handcuffed, maltreated. But when these other people, he still went to a marriage recently.
Yes.
Abakari still went to a marriage.
Yes.
There's no shame in that kind of situation. That, see, when you steal 10 naira, when somebody steals 10 naira, it will end up in Agodi. But when he steals 10 billion, they will say he should pay back 1 billion. Where's the 9 billion left?
Under the plea bargain arrangement. Let's now go to the cycle of Abba Kyari. Let me go quickly back to Mr. Rotimi. Let's look at the cycle of Abba Kyari. Now, obviously, he has not spoken out to say this and this and this are the people who I work with, who may be top individuals within the government level. And now let's look at the fact that it's always very difficult at most times when you start off a probe in Nigeria. Ending it, what comes out of it, it's still like a mirage, like in Nigeria. Let's look at the power sector probe, the petroleum sector probe. We've had so many
NDDC.
Nothing necessarily has come out of it. Now, should the government or the concerned authority now should be paying key attention to who and who works with Abba Kyari, naming and of course knowing these individuals?
I still want to maintain the fact that power corrupt, absolutely. And at the same time, I did say police is one of the tools of politicians, of these people in power. Don't forget the fact that at a point in time, towards the end of last year, one former military president came to tell us that Nigeria has been proliferated with some illegal ammunition, about 6 million illegal ammunition that is circulating in the system. And we heard the story of how numbers of ammunition were missed inside the police armory. So, if come to think of all these things, so there is serious conspiracy within them in collaboration with the people in the power. Even during the time of Abacha military junta, he came to tell us that any crisis, any crime that lasted more than 24 hours, so as involvement of government. So see how long we have been experiencing insecurity in Nigeria. See where corruption has taken Nigeria to. We have seen a case where Army General was convicted and 3 billion property was confiscated from serving general. See the allegation of immediate past Army General that purchased some property in Dubai, and with evidence, what has government done on it?
It's now an ambassador.
It's not an ambassador. So now see how the humongous amount of money that was paid to NNPC of 100 billion naira and not one single drop of oil. So they produce it. They never produce single. So see a lot of corruption.
But
that is going on.
what would we say are the underlying factors here? Let's look at the fact that we are always economical when it comes to the truth here in Nigeria. We don't want to speak to the truth at most times. And now we're actually trying as much as possible to find solutions. Then how do we get to that point of saying that we are breaking these genes? And of course, we're stepping away from what used to be the norm and doing the needful. How do we get to that point as Nigerians?
You see, it's very difficult to fight a fascist government because, yes, because a lot of people have been cowed. Even civil society, all of them, they have been cowed.
And so everyone should just go home and go and rest.
The only
so your tent, O Israel.
The only few one, the only few one are helpless. If not the likes of the agitation of the revolution now we are doing here and there, and so some I think one set up or one other civil society organization so that have been shagging this government, that have been talking. So no one, everyone has been caged, and I did say that people, even people, religious leaders, so they are no longer saying truth to the power because we have exchanged our value, we have exchanged humanity with money. So nobody cares to say the truth. Those that have said the truth, they are in prison now. Some have been killed. So some have come sent to the journey of no return as of today in this same administration. So we have been experiencing this thing. So that is why injustice persists in this nation. Inequality, nepotism. So as a result of that, so that's why you see agitation here and there. So some say, okay, enough is enough. If we cannot coexist, so allow us to go. And governments seem not to address this issue properly.
But it's not being recognized by our constitution.
They went to United Nations, so they
on
follow
the referendum, that
yes.
is not in our constitution.
Even though there's some constitutional organizations who have been communicating to the government that if we have been operating a system for so long time and we never seen change, the best thing for us is to look inward to look for alternative, look for change. We cannot continue with this system. Even if Christ come and rule with this kind of system we are using in Nigeria,
will anything change?
No.
Even if we go our different ways, are we not going to be the same people?
Don't let us go to that place. Now, like what you said now, number one thing that will lead to reduce corruption is when each region restructure it. Money is in the hands of those who don't know the value of money. And as such, those who know the value of money are not getting money, but they are the ones producing this money, this wealth. And as such, what we're having is all animals are equal, but some are more equal than the other. He mentioned nepotism, who is controlling what. I showed some of our colleagues in the house the real state of Nigeria. I said, Google so, and they Googled it, and they saw it. They said, ha! Because as a journalist, a broadcaster, there are so many facts that are hidden to us that if you say it out, they might pick you up. Then, if you share it with your friends is better, because everybody, the number one thing that will bring this country to a news, or people will know when you are supposed you produce what you eat and not you produce for others to eat. And after cooking in your kitchen, somebody comes to take your pot and soup and now dish it for you. How will you enjoy your process?
But the thing is, people have been having different ideas and suggestions as to the way out, but they have not been this harmonious approach to all of this. Individuals will say, let's go by the way of restructuring. Some will say disintegration is the way out. Some will say, just take away the constitution, let's have another people-oriented constitution. Now, it appears that we have different types of appeals to all of this development. And Buhari said one thing at one time, that you are saying restructuring. What are we restructuring? Today you will say, let's go by geopolitical zone. Some will say, no, let's go by regional system of governance. Some will say the federal structure is unitary. Let's go and check that. And now it appears that we don't really know what we want as a country.
We know what we
Everybody
want.
has different opinions.
Madam, we know what we want. Even the president, General Buhari, came on the platform that they are going to restructure, isn't it?
Yes.
Have they
He said
restructured?
he doesn't understand
That's
what
one of the
Nigeria
He doesn't see
when it comes to restructuring.
See, what they want is what Wike and Lagos State is doing. Control your resources, pay to the center. The center is so strong that some people feel they have this country. That was why he said, I can only appoint those that I can work with. Who are those that you can only appoint those you can work with based because you are from the same family. You understand each other. You wake up, you sleep, and you socialize. But others are not worthy. But in this context, the man is not saying the truth. See, if some are saying, let's go, now you'll be talking about zoning, they'll be talking about the restructuring, deregulation, and all these things. But I tell you, the bottom line is Solon, the Athenian lawgiver and reformer, said, inequalities breed strife. He said it in 594 BC. The Greek Athenian lawgiver said inequality, when there's a very big gap in inequalities, you must have problem in the society. That's
So these inequalities, what
Yes.
are they?
The inequalities is that one part of the country believes they have power
Domicile.
over every other person. One society believes that they can control every resources in this country. And if you look at the so-called loan, go and read it. If anybody is watching us, go and read the so-called loan. I showed it to some of our colleagues. They were, so this is what is happening. They've not told us the truth in this country. Now it's dawning on us. Corruption, ineptitude, inefficiency, and also nepotism has robbed us the brilliant. Yaradua, within a short period, did a great thing. Baba Obasanjo, within a short period, helped us to cancel our debt. But today, we are deep, more than
He helped us. Obasanjo helped us.
to get out of the debt. But
okay.
today, we're in trouble.
But many people believe that he's also part of the problem we have in Nigeria.
He's not part of the problem. At his own period, he did what he could do.
Do you agree?
Well, partially. In terms of, he tried his possible best, but what he wasn't able to do was that they give us this decree we call the Constitution. And this decree has denied some region their right. Before we came up with this kind of pressure system of government we are operating, land belonged to each state. Land and forest belong to each state.
See, today,
No, it's no longer attainable.
no, it's attainable.
Under the security list. So that is why others and all these criminals have been able to operate freely, because they claim land belongs to federal government.
No.
So they believe that land does not belong to individual. Land does not belong to any state. Land belongs to federal government.
They
So
tried to do that. They didn't succeed because the land belongs to the state, and the family can always.
Can they harness the resources? I think
No,
that
what
area is
they tried to do was to say every land across the banks of the river belongs to the federal government, waterways. And I remember then I was in Delta. You now see some of these headers going to put their heads by the banks. They tried everything to take the land, but it's still they've not changed the constitution till today. So if they are talking, Oyo State or any state has the governor has the power to allocate land, see or full. That's why is it not with the federal government?
But can the governor in Nigeria harness the resources?
No.
That's what I mean. That's
the area is talking about the fiscal federalism.
Fiscal federalism is not being practiced as we emulated from where we advanced country we borrow it. There should be exclusive power at the state level in such a way that each state should have absolute control, to have control on the resources, so to take care of its own state. But in fact, it's the case in this country. All the resources is being taken to the central, and central is now use that kind of opportunity, so to share it. Even it's not even equal. So there's something called derivative, and
population, land mass,
all these things. So it's not share equally. So that is the reason why it has bring ineptitude from some people, people at the corridor of power. So, and we have been practicing this thing for so long time. So development that is even much is given, much is expected. We expected even more than that from Obasanjo.
All right, yes, exactly. Okay, before we actually look at the Obasanjo issue, of course, the Southwesterners will say that he did not ensure, as a matter of fact, that some of the things they got under the Buhari administration should have been under the Obasanjo administration itself. But shockingly, it's coming from this administration. Okay, let's look at the fact that some of you may have been trying to call into the program this evening. And of course, you remember the rules. If you have to call in, you have to turn down the audio level of your TV set, or you move away from your TV set in order for us to get your contributions. And do remember, you tell us your name and the location you're calling from. All right, let's quickly look at your Obasanjo aspects now, and the fact that you talked about equitable distribution of resources. And I was wondering deep inside me, is it going to be possible to have equal distribution of resources in Nigeria under the system we operate? Some are saying the socialist system will work for Nigeria, and that's why the likes of the Abba Kyari, for instance, allegedly, he's been able to amass wealth using all sort of fronts in order for him to get wealth for himself, diverting the attention of people from what he's originally supposed to do. All right, before we take that question, let's take this call. Hello, good evening. Okay, so in that regard, how do we address the issue of equitable distribution of resources, and why do we still have some people using the backdoor syndrome to get more resources for themselves?
It's not possible we have equitable distribution of resources due to the fact that some region, some state produce resources than one another.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, please. What's the name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Femi Kare.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm calling from Bauchi.
Go ahead, please.
See, the issue of Nigeria, first, our elders are not a big issue. In the sense that they are there in the offices, Nigeria. The only thing they think of is to accumulate money for the children, but not to spend anyone in the country. Not forgetting that we have the poor that cannot do that. And the way Nigeria is going now, it will be a certain state that the poor will not sleep and the rich will not sleep. They are not ready to change anything now. And the sense of the Abakari is not a people. The country. But the problem like going on in Nigeria now, Abakari is not up to pace of it. That's the worst of the crime that's going on in Nigeria now. So I believe from this, central government can take a step and look for any holes they can still get in Nigeria. I think it will help everybody in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your contributions, all the way from Bauchi. But one thing is really very striking. Abba Kyari's take home and the kind of lifestyle that he lives in is another thing entirely. But not cutting Mr. Rotimi short. Please land on the comment you're trying, the point you're trying to.
I'm trying to
across.
make comment on equity, distribution of resources, and derivative. In this country, there are some.
Okay, let's take this one. Hello, good evening. We can hear you loud and clear. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. If only you can turn down the audio level of your TV set, all right? Please do remember you have to turn down the audio level of your TV set once you're calling into the program so that we can hear you and you can also hear us and tell us where you're calling from. All right, okay, let's take this. Let's see if this is going to be successful. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Okay, let's quickly go on that point, Mr. Rotimi.
There are some states in this country who are immensely contributing to the resources that we are making use at the center. And of course, we see some states that don't have anything to contribute. So there should be a kind of derivative for those people that are contributing to the resources to the center. And at the same time, so the remaining should be equitably distributed to.
Let's take this one. Hello, good evening. Good evening, please. I'm fine. What's the name and where are you calling us from? All right, please, can you go ahead? Yes. All right, the line is a little bit wobbling. We can't really get what you're saying. We do hope that you call back into the program. Okay?
So what I'm trying to say is that there are some states in this country who are immensely contributing to resources we are making use at a central level. And there are some states who doesn't bring anything.
So there should be like an interest for the states that are contributing.
So there should be a kind of derivative.
Okay.
Special derivative for those people that are bringing resources, and there should be a focused developmental project at that particular state that is bringing all these things. But come to think of it, what I see as a solution.
Okay, let's take this one. Hello, good evening. Okay, please go ahead. Okay, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I'm enjoying your program.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, problem we have in Nigeria based on the teaching and will be advising problem and even the solution. I want us to there is some of our test in this country. And we that is what affecting this country and if those that are do some can have leadership and know the subject, we that are subject, and can do what I know. I think this nation will be good. Also, if you know every other region, and everybody can be carried along. Like the Southeast, it shows that Southeast is not part of Nigeria. This is 66 years. Igbo man has never become the president of this country. And that's why there is agitation. You know that Igbos, we know Nigeria, and Igbo practice through Nigeria. Because everywhere you visit in the whole nation, Igbo man. Built good when I was in Yoruba land, I discovered that Igbos have landing property. We go to know before. So we are the one practicing the two Nigeria.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Can you hear me? Yes. Are the Igbos ready for presidency?
Yes.
Does the Igbos come together to support a candidate for the presidential race? Because obviously people from that region are saying that you've not actually come up with a quorum as to what you want.
For instance, my Governor Mali is ready. He has declared. Pius has declared. What we need is that other regions should support Southeast. Other regions, let them zone their presidency to Southeast. In the year 1999, the major political party we had then zoned their presidency to Southwest. Where Obasanjo and Chief became the flag bearers. The major political party should do the same. So that everybody in the Southeast will know that truly we are part of Nigeria. So that's my contribution. And
all right.
Their political party my governor Omali ready to transform Nigeria as he has transformed every state. Not to one state, but every local government. I'm not a politician.
All right. Thank you so much. You can go on and on. He's your preferred candidate. Thank you so much for calling into the program this evening. All right, before we leave Abba Kyari, I just feel that we still have little time to look at the zoning formula. Quickly, let's look at what Abba Kyari, what we can make out of this. Are there any lessons for Nigeria? Let me start off with Mr. Rotimi.
Nigeria should try as much as possible, if any responsibility is given to them, so to do the needful, to do the right thing.
Who should probe him now? Should we also have the police force probe him? And of course, this is actually NDLEA, and the police will say we'll still do our own internal kind of investigation, although he's been suspended.
We don't trust any kind of probe from police because we had it before that his suspension is about to be. It was about to be recalled before the issue of NDLEA came in, and at a point in time. When the allegation of Hush Puppy, American extradition, so are going on, so it's like there's going to be a kind of cover up from even the government on him. So that is why it's like the whole world is watching, and that we have seen what happened from makeup of Abba Kyari as the epitome of bad system, epitome of the corruption, impunity in our system. So. But kudos to NDLEA, who deem it very necessary, important to expose this thing. So we are watching how it's going to end. But what I take is that those people, if you are given any responsibility to serve your nation, so with all heart, with everything, so you should be able to serve it very well. Everything is not about wealth, amassing, ill-gotten wealth. Those people who are celebrating in the world today, hardly you will see them at their private home. There are some people who have made it in the whole world that we are celebrating about 2,000 years ago. About 100 years ago, we have the last of this guy that fought for independence of black race in America.
Martin
Luther King. I don't believe he has up to 3-bedroom flat. We have many of them. We have even if we have some patriotic Nigeria here. We have the woman, former NAFDAC, Akuyili. So we celebrate her today. So he has done a lot of tremendous success, contribution to this country. Okay. I don't think he has any.
Let's quickly leave this topic to the last topic. I just hope we have few time to look at that. Now the zoning formula. Let me come back to Mr. Lisa. That zoning formula is causing a number of chaos within the political party structure. Let's start off with the APC. APC has stopped the stale of form. It's supposed to have started since yesterday, but as a result of this zoning thing, they've not decided where it will go to, and as a result, they are still trying to talk about how much more this will affect them as a party. Now, it's also going to determine who becomes the chairman of that national chairman of that party, whichever way they are zoning to. Now, the last caller talked about the fact that the Igbos have been there waiting forever to be given that position, and some will say you don't wait until it's given to you, you have to fight for it. Now, the zoning formula, should it be recognized within the political party structure?
For equity and fairness and social justice, it's time for the Southeast to become the president. This region they've been agitating to
Is it their entitlement?
It's the entitlement. Because
under the Constitution?
Not under
the... They have to struggle for it?
They can't struggle for it. Because in 1999, when the transition to democracy was happening, they zoned it to the Southwest to appease the Southwest. You understand? It was Chief Olufalaye and Chief Olusegun Obasanjo that contested PDP, APP. APP, they contested, they left them. The other zones voted for them. It came to moving to the north. They now said, let's go back to north. We had Yaradua of blessed memory, supported by Jonathan. And when he died, he took over. See, the Southwest have got 8 years with Chief Obasanjo. The North has gotten now, let's say 10 years, 2 years of Yaradua. South, where I come from, we've gotten 6 years. With Jonathan, 2 years of the remaining of Yaradua, and 4 years.
This is a logical explanation.
That is why
the real sense of the Constitution.
Forget about the Constitution.
That is what the northern elites are saying. But
See,
the Constitution has not provided for that.
Now, even the political gerrymandering of this country gives the North 9,000 plus polling units. Northwest has 41,000 plus. Northeast has about 24,000 plus. North Central has about 27. The most populated area, talking about the Southwest, has about 34,000 plus polling units. The Southeast has 21,000 plus. Then the South has so the election has been won before the election. So the gerrymandering that we inherited from the colonial masters is still there. And
okay, let's see if we have another caller here. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, I'm Charles, even from Kaduna.
Please go ahead.
Huh?
Please go ahead. We can hear you, Charles. Please go ahead.
I'm hearing I just want to believe the selfish ambition, not to lead, but to be there to just want to be the leaders, to steal money, nothing. They don't have any hope for people to meet people in the right way. But I see those people they are the only ones that are yet to rule in this democracy. See, like I think South, not way. So, South, see what they want.
All right, Charles, your line is actually breaking. We're trying and straining as much as possible to make sense of what you're saying, but I think we got the picture. The Southeast has been shut out for a very long time. And of course, now, quickly, let me go to Mr. Rotimi, not cutting you short, Mr. Lisa. Now, the equation being fought by the Nnamdi Kanus of this world, quickly, has it not really spoiled things, especially for the Southeasterners, given the fact that even the governors are not in charge any longer? It is what IPOP says that the people actually observes and listens to. Now they're talking about giving it to the Southeast. Are these developments not worrisome for the Southeasterners?
Well, with intent and purposes, I don't see power going to Southeast with this kind of system.
You don't see it happen. Are they not Nigerians?
But let me tell you something. Before it went to the Southwest, Nadeko, Springs of Surprises, isn't it? By the time it started with the South, they placated them with what? Jonathan. By the time the Southeast start their own nonsense, it's always final.
By actually doing all of this that we're seeing.
See, they did. Nadeko did. They gave it to Southwest. The South did. They gave it to Jonathan. By the time these people do theirs, it might be final.
I don't see power going there with the kind of
they let them go.
Agitation that is going on.
They should go where?
They should go.
I want to come up with a possible solution.
What is it?
That's why I said with this system we are operating.
Yep.
So we have analyzed numerous issues we are facing in this country. So we are starting from the inequality, injustice, impunity, nepotism here and there. And you say the population now. But
all right, let's see if we can get through with this. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Good evening.
Good evening, ma. I'm calling from Kaduna.
What's the name, please?
Kenny Boyega.
Please go ahead.
The issue of zoning formula, we have been hearing this thing for a very long time. I think I can remember 1998 or so, or 99 or thereabout, when PDP was zoning the presidency to the south, they did not zone it to the southwest. It was contested for by Chief Obasanjo and Alex Ekweme in Jos. Before Chief Obasanjo won it, the same thing happened to AB. It was an issue of coalition that make APP and AD to form party that time. So the issue of saying that they should zone something to the southwest also that people have been talking about. Chief Alex Ekweme contested vehemently with Obasanjo. Let them zone it to the south. Let everybody that wants to contest from the south, let them contest it. The issue of that they are cheating Igbos or something is not something that is good for the politics of Nigeria. Let them zone it to the south. Anybody, either APC or PDP, anybody that wanted to contest from south, let them contest. Look at it. That is well done. But in the southeast, they are abusing everybody, this and that. Nobody will vote for them if it is like that. So that's my own point.
All right, thank you so much, Kenny, for your contributions there. And of course, I think that's the last call we can take this evening. All right, to wrap up this particular topic itself, what do we take home? You said you're trying to look at some solutions, Mr. Rotimi.
Yeah, the last caller is well informed about what actually happened during that time. So power should zone to south. When it comes to south, so we should know how to resolve our issue in south. If preferential southeast, they have a sellable candidate that they believe we can support. So we should be able to rally around ourselves in south here. So we should not be saying that power has been sown to southwest. And at the same time, the possible solution is, I don't see this south people getting this power soon. So that's one of the reasons this guy just did mention now. So what we should do is that we should try as much as possible. If you don't want to disintegration, you should be able to go back to the unity system of government we are operating before. So whereby each region have the independence on their government and they have a representative at the center. So it will allow competition. It will allow a competitive advantage. Whatever you believe you can produce in your own region.
You should produce.
You should produce.
To be self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient in your own region. So it should be exchanged to any the other region that cannot produce it, and whatever other region that cannot produce what you are producing. So it should be there should be a kind of competition. So it will allow a competency. It will allow productivity. But with this kind of system, so whether we zone it to southeast, we zone it to wherever we zone it to, the same story we are still going to capitalize on, because there's no one that will come from southeast that will not do practice this kind of the same nepotism we are practicing. Okay. So we have seen them.
Our time is fast, Mr. Rotimi. We know you're passionate about this, and we can't exhaust it in one sitting. Let me quickly go to Mr. Olisa. What are your parting shots, sir?
My parting shots. Let's be careful. There may never be 2023.
We are hoping that there will be 2023. In spite of what appears to be a stern warning,
election.
We are hoping that it's going to be a smooth sail one. And of course, that's our program this evening on Political Talk. I must say a big thank you to Mr. Olisa Lawrence for being here, one of our in-house analysts. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. And of course, we've been also talking to Mr. Rotimi Ogulano, who is a public affairs analyst. Thank you too for being here. And to all our viewers and those who call into the program, we say a big thank you. Join us again next week for another interesting edition. My name is Bolabo Fimo School. Bye for now.
I intend to keep my oath and serve as president to all Nigerians.